What's going on, traders? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is April 21st, 2021. Please click the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today, we're going to talk about the price action and the indices. Today was such a crazy day. We'll go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors. We'll talk about some of my trades for the day, and then we'll wrap up with some options order flow. Before we jump in, a quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, so let's jump in here. Oh my gosh. Okay, not the heat map first. We're going to our futures first. So let's see. So box scores for today, we had S&P 500 finish up 0.95% as measured by the SPY. We had the NASDAQ QQQ finish up 0.86%. We had the IWM small caps finish up 2.44%. And then we had the Dow Jones finish up 0.94%. So some strength all across the board. And today was yet another expectation breaker. So yesterday, I'd come into the past couple of days short the S&P 500, or really just short equities as a whole. Yesterday, when we got this flush down, I started closing out all my shorts and left myself, I have like one little like half hedge on against like a book of longs. But yeah, I started closing everything out yesterday and getting really long. And today, overnight, we had Netflix earnings, and Netflix actually whiffed their earnings report. And I was like, oh gosh, this might just set us off on the wrong, footing with a big miss like that. We ended up gapping down slightly, but still inside of yesterday's candle. And then throughout the day, the price action really just got stronger and stronger. The breadth really picked up and just maintained this steady state good breadth throughout the day. And we got, another super bullish day. So we had bearish engulfing candle and then a bullish engulfing candle, right after. It's pretty crazy. So you can see here, we're above this 5-day EMA. We are above this 20-day simple moving average. What's good is that this 20-day simple moving average is beginning to catch up a little bit. So part of the reason why, on this crazy march up, I was like, oh yeah, man, this is really crazy, is because we were so extended. Now, after a couple days of pullback, consolidation, now this 20-day is coming up to meet price pretty nicely. Yeah, you can see I was watching on this hourly chart. I just drew in like a little trend line here. Sometimes, a downtrend will just start. You don't even really realize that you're in it. And so I came into today very aggressively long, knowing, okay, we got this bad news with Netflix. Who knows what really can happen? We gapped down, and then it was pretty much immediately off the open. We just got strength on the tape. And it was okay, we're going up today. About here, this is where I was like, okay, we have this weekly value area high coming up. I'm very long, so I just want to make sure to be prudent. And, when we tag that level, excuse me, I'm not going to just add on a bunch of risk. I'm going to make sure to take some things off and just be prudent in case this ends up being look above and just fail. So I did do that. I took off a couple of trades right here. But then I was like, okay, let's wait and see. We'll have an open mind. And throughout the rest of the trading session, we just maintained our strength. The breadth held up. So I ended up, adding some more trades on about midway through the day and towards the end of the day. And we ended up getting this really nice, blow-off action here. So yeah, really nice move. I think in this market, you really do have to take things day by day. But as I was looking at this price action, I was like, if we make it past this 41, 47 level, there's not really much stopping us from these all-time highs. If you look, and then from there's not really much stopping us from 4,200 on the S&P 500 index. So yeah, really bullish day of price action. you can see here, if we pull up our NQ, this one was definitely, pretty weak to start just because, like I said, Netflix reported weak earnings. One thing that I will note, so we had Netflix report weak earnings, but then we had the semis name LSRX report strong earnings. So I think those two kind of like, maybe canceled each other out, or, however you want to think about it. Yeah, you can see for NASDAQ, we are trading in this weekly value area. And we'll have to see if we make it past this point of control or what. Yeah, that one also had a nice day. At one point, the NASDAQ was down pretty big, and it really just rallied back like a champ. And then RTY, which I had been bearish on, I had puts on them on RTY, really on IWM. Yesterday, luckily, I closed out of all those positions on this flush. So now today, pretty much the Russell had every reason why it could have just completely tanked and fallen apart. We got this open, which is pretty weak, and we ended up, really quickly rolling downward in the morning. And in like the first 15 minutes, we were down like 0.7%. It was like, oh gosh, are we really about to just roll off here? But buyers came in, and really throughout the day, the IWM just remained strong. So you can see a really nice candle. And once again, these dip buyers push price back above this monthly point of control. So it's starting to look like, and I ended up positioning that way at the close, sometimes when you get something that just doesn't want to go down, it happens for a reason. And a lot of times, you end up getting a move up. So yeah, I ended up getting long some IWM calls towards the close. We'll have to see what happens with it though. See a really nice action there. And then Dow Jones, I wasn't really paying as close attention to throughout the day. Dow Jones, you can see, closed down 0.1%. Or no. This was after hours. It was down 0.1%. Excuse me. Yeah, so we had a nice green day in the Dow Jones as well. Dow Jones, it never really had that like exuberant high like the S&P 500 did. And you can see, just had a nice little correction in time here. It's not really all that extended, so let's see what happens with the Dow. Looks like it just opened for futures trading at night, pretty much flat here. So yeah, really bullish day for risk assets, and I think it was pretty unexpected because I know a lot of people were really like stopping out of positions yesterday and really getting like, oh my gosh, can't believe the market just turned bearish, and then out of nowhere, then all of a sudden we're strong again. So yeah, if you look here at our heat map, one thing I noticed, now I've been following breadth for every single market index, every day like a hawk. One thing I noticed was I was like, man, Netflix is down so much. Earlier in the day, we weren't really getting any support from Facebook, Google, really like any of these FANG names. And the market was still moving higher. So I was like, this is pretty strong if we're getting no support from FANG and we're still moving up. So you can see, by the end of the day, this is pretty strong breadth here, minus a couple of these FANG names. I ended up taking some Facebook calls earlier in the day because what I noticed was Netflix came out, bad numbers. And I noticed pretty much off the open, all of these communication services names were pretty weak. And it seemed to me like it was due to the Netflix numbers. And I know Netflix is definitely, a very unique business from Google, from Facebook. So I ended up taking some Facebook calls in the morning. If we look at our sectors here, you can see, broad strength across the board. One thing that I think is noteworthy, so we have the leaders up here, gold miners, real estate, medical devices. But what's interesting is that the sectors that are at the bottom of our list had some of the biggest moves. So a lot of times what that tells me is there's likely some short covering going on when the sectors that are super weak have really big, rip your face off rallies. So if you look, the SPAC ETF up 4.19%, cannabis names up, blockchain names up, solar energy, a lot of these really beaten down areas of the market. Sometimes what can happen is, an area of the market just trends down for so long, and people keep adding to their shorts and pairing those sectors off with their longs. And then eventually when that trend does change a bit, there's typically like a very violent short covering rally. A lot of times a hedge fund or two blows up. That's just kind of the market that we're in now. But yeah, that definitely shows me likely some short covering, especially with these SPACs. There was like Skills that went up 30% today. A couple others that really had nice rallies. And if we look at our style factors, you can see here we have the leader for today. We had the size factor, so that means small caps really crushing it. And actually high beta. Yeah, high beta up 2.29%. We had the cyclicals up 2.19%. So yeah, the areas at the bottom of our list having the best days. But you can see, broad strength across the board. And so for some of my trades for today, I did a lot of trading today. So I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as I can. So let's see. Yeah, today was a really good trading day for me. Okay, so yeah, these are from the other day. Got long these two names. Oh wow, I just realized I didn't do anything via common stocks today. I only did options trades. Yeah, I'd gotten long PLBY yesterday. PLBY had an insane move. So if we look at PLBY, oh my gosh. This is incredible. Yeah, so if you look here, PLBY, this name, it's just, like it's on steroids or something. Yeah, it was up 26.27% today. Now that being said, that's definitely not normal. It's not what I expected. It's great when you enter a name, you get a good trade location and it does that. But yeah, I think for this one, I just want to make sure that my own expectations are, okay. This one goes down 10% tomorrow. I'm not going to be upset. Same way it went up 26% today, and I'm going to try to just like keep it chill. But yeah, this one, just really good run. So we'll see. And now for me, the question is like, okay, I want to let this one run in case, it blows off again tomorrow. This is a name where it's more like a long-term thematic name. I want to see if I can stick with it. But at the same time, I want to manage the risk where if this one comes in, I want to just take my gains. So we'll see. I'm going to do some more thinking about that. But really nice move from PLBY. Let's see here. What else do we have? Yeah, so my trades. So what did I do today? Yeah, so I got long some Facebook calls for May. And I said here, exactly what I said earlier. I think Netflix is taking down the entire comm sector, playing for a bounce. Close those out for a nice scalp winner later in the day. Close those out for $12.70. I'd paid $11.90. Then what else did I do? I closed half of my Boyd Gaming calls for $3.10. I had paid $2.60. I closed out some Microsoft calls for $8.25. I had paid $8.20. Those Microsoft ended up rallying later in the day. But when I trade these very like short-term options, if something looks even the slightest bit ambiguous, I try to just close out. See, I close out very small scalp winner. When the IWM small caps got very extended early on in the day, I tried to scalp some puts. I scalped these at 1038. At the time, IWM was up like 1.8%. It was huge. I ended up taking a target on those about an hour later. I closed a third of the IWM puts for $6.87. I had paid $6.38. And then at that point, I was like, I took my target. Let me just see how this plays out. Now I feel comfortable. IWM had a big dip. It went from like up 1.8 all the way down to like 1.1. That's where I took my target. I was like, okay, maybe IWM just rolls over here, but we'll see. IWM ended up coming back and then some. So I closed out the remaining 2/3 for $6.14. I had paid $6.38. Small loser, not really a big deal. Overall on that trade, I took a scratch. But that was actually like some good like market intel for me. As I was like, okay, I was watching IWM. I see just how strong it is. The fact that it had a big dip and then buyers just came right back in and pushed it up. So then I ended up, towards the close, I entered some June 18th, 220 straight calls for $9.47 just to see, if we keep getting, this blow off in IWM. And then I added to my applied materials September 17th 130 strike calls. So yeah, you can see now I have a combined cost of 1535. Applied materials, this one just seemed like a really textbook setup. I already had some calls on, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to add to these. And this one, if you look at it, really nice move. This one was a leader when the semis were moving very nicely. Pulls back for 2 to 3 weeks, shakes a bunch of people out. The reason why I know they were shaken out is because a lot of technical traders, they go, okay, if this breaks the 20-day, I'm out. And I think a lot of like algos, they understand that. So like, of course, you get the close below the 20-day, and then an even further flush out. Then you have this strength. So that's why I was like, I want to actually hit this, and add to my position. So we'll see what happens with applied materials, but yeah, really liking the technical setup there and the shakeout as well. So we'll see what happens with that one. Yeah, and then the IWM calls that I added, towards the close. Yeah, you can see IWM had a nice bullish day. Oh yeah, the other one that I did, last trade that I did was, where did I put this? Oh yeah, earnings trade. So I I sold a put spread in, oh geez. Oh man, yeah, so let me edit this. I did that in LVS. Let me see. Yeah, I'll edit that. That's a shame. Yeah. So I did that in Las Vegas Sands. As for April 23rd, I sold the 60 by 58 put spread. So hopefully this one is a loser. That way nobody misses out. If this one was a nice winner. Let's see. So Las Vegas Sands reported earnings. And you can see here, I sold the 60 by 58 put spread. They actually missed on their earnings. But I had a feeling that they were very likely to miss on their print. It's really about what they guide to for the next quarter, because this is a recovery name. So you can see here, we've ripped into the close. They reported their earnings. We did get a bit of a dip here. But you can see we're trading, right above my upper strike. We're trading at 60.17. Did some research on this one earlier in the day, and I see that for April 23rd, the max pain strike is 60. So that's, I need Las Vegas Sands to hold above that 60 level. So yeah, we'll see what happens. This one looking okay so far. Yeah, and that about does it for my trades for the day. Let's take a look at some of this options order flow before we break for today. Yeah, and you can see one thing I noticed was like, even though the market was doing pretty well in the morning, I noticed a lot of put flow coming in compared to calls. So you can see order for Tesla right off the open at 9:30. I was actually looking at Tesla, but I kind of got, I was looking at some other names and trading those, so I didn't really get to Tesla. You can see Tesla had a nice day today. Yeah, 3.5%. That's the thing. Like, this is not really like a risk-off market if Tesla is just kind of like stair-stepping higher now. So, yeah. I saw some people on Twitter and they were like, I just don't trust this. I'm staying in cash. And I was like, man, it's tough not to trust this. I don't know. Like what would make you trust it. But, yeah, so we had that. So we had Tesla right off the open. And then you can see, yeah, there were some SPY puts. These are slightly out of the money puts. These are deep out of the money for July. Slightly out of the money for early May. Looks like some bullishness around MasterCard. I didn't really see this earlier. But yeah, look. These are April 23rd, 325 strike calls. They came in at 11. And then a very similar order, maybe it was just broken into two pieces, came in right towards the close. These 325 strikes for April 23rd. Let's see what MasterCard did. Yeah, so it ended up putting in a nice candle here. This is a, nice little dip buy candle going on here. Do they have earnings or something? Okay, on April 29th. But yeah, those are some short-term calls. Maybe they want exposure before the print. Yeah, you can see more SPY puts, IWM puts. So I typically like to see this when an asset's moving up, you know, and it has like bearish to bullish reversal, and people start buying puts on it. Because I think there's a lot of people in the market, they're like, well, it went up a lot, so that means it's going to go down next. And I think when you get a lot of those people that are like spamming puts on it, then, you know, that can be more fuel, you know, to the upside. So we'll see what happens. And I see towards the end of the day when it got blatantly obvious, like this is a really bullish day, you can see some call buyers came in. Let's see Dish. They bought these for 2022. Dish. Oh my gosh, nice day for Dish Network. And then another thing, side note, a lot of these Archegos names actually bounced back a little bit. So Baidu, nice candle here. I own some common stock in Baidu. Another one, I think Viacom. Yeah, nice candle here. So who knows, maybe some of that dark cloud is lifting a little bit. I think Discovery did as well. Let's see, Fitch. Or this is Farfetch. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, so just a little bounce day for some of those Archegos names. That about does it for the options order flow, and that does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had an awesome trading day, and I will see you all in our pre-market session tomorrow.